Hi, my name is Stephanie Robbins and I am the president and CEO of Robbins Plumbing. I am not a marketing prop. It's kind of funny how often we get asked that. I'm a real person. I actually know plumbing, not a marketing prop. And today we are going to talk about 6 signs you could have a slab leak. But first I want to define what is a slab leak. And a slab leak in plumber terminology is a leak on your domestic water line under your foundation. That can be inside. It's usually inside when we're talking plumber lingo. It could be outside under a patio, under your driveway, on your water service line. But typically when we are talking slab leak in plumber lingo, we are talking a leak on your domestic water line. So your hot or cold line inside your home, underneath your concrete foundation, and that should be copper unless someone screwed up. So there's that. So now that I've clearly defined what a slab leak is, what are signs you have one? First and foremost, a high water bill. It could be an indication that you have a slab leak. It can be signs of several other things, which we have videos for, like a running toilet. It can be lots of things, but it can be a sign that you have a leak underneath your foundation. You don't see it, you don't hear it, but oh man, this water bill. I have had clients ignore slab leaks even though I told them not to, and hey, we're 2 months in, you could have had all of this fixed by now at the cost of your water. So here in the desert, that's super important. So that high water bill, it's something you want to pay attention to. If it's $10 more, maybe you're just using something you shouldn't. If it's higher than that, it's a sign something's wrong and you really do want to start taking steps to look into it. Another sign of a slab leak is water damage. So that isn't always the case. Most slab leaks in 25 years of experience don't actually make it to the surface. They're under concrete. They can be 10 feet from a wall, more, but water does take the path of least resistance and it has to go somewhere. So a lot of times it will follow a sleeve, it will follow a pre-existing path. So if you start to see signs of water damage, drywall starting to look a little discolored, that kind of thing, it could be that you have a slab leak. It could be you have a different leak, but it's something, again, don't ignore. There is a problem that's existing, and as much as like even with dental, hey, it's a little sore, and we want to ignore it and pretend it doesn't happen, it happens, and it just progressively gets worse. So it's one of those things, if you see water damage, you're starting to see signs of discoloration, you want to address it the second you notice it. And more than just the damage it causes, the longer you leave something and ignore it, like that tooth, the worse it gets. And you're starting to talk about things not being covered by insurance because of neglect and that kind of stuff. So the second you notice something's not right, call us, call a licensed plumber that you trust in the community that you're in, but call somebody, don't ignore it. It doesn't get better, it just gets worse. Another sign of a slab leak is low water pressure. There are other indicators that you could have, oh man, the water pressure in my home, and it's usually gradual. Slab leaks don't just happen and all of a sudden things change. It's a gradual notification that, hey, it seemed like I had a lot more pressure a couple days ago. It can be other things, but it could also be a slab leak. But also, it's just one of those things, like, again, don't ignore it. Plumbing problems don't fix themselves. They don't go away. We want to address them while they're small. not when there are huge problems and we have flooding and we're out of our homes. So if low pressure is all of a sudden a problem in your home, it could be something stupid simple. And we're just like, oh, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, we're gonna clean an aerator, you have a bad supply line, angle stop wasn't on all the way. But it could be an indication, especially if it's whole home, that you have a leak under your foundation. The other sign it could be only if it's on the hot side. And I will say that, you know what, I'm gonna put this out there, 90% of slab leaks are on the hot side. And why that is cold lines don't expand and contract. They have a very consistent and smooth gradient of temperature. But hot lines contract and expand. So just constantly as you're using hot water, think about how long you wait for hot water to get from point A to point B. Oh, I turned on my shower. I'm waiting and I'm waiting. That cold water and then that hot line behind it, it's expanding. So, and then it cools down. So there's a lot of friction without, I don't want to say proper, but it's really proper, like grading. When you are backfilling on a new construction job site, grading is a big deal. You want to make sure there's no pebbles, there's no rocks, there's no this and that and debris. And well, I've seen all of it. I mean, we expose lines and I'm like, oh, hey, look, it must have been a Friday. There's a beer can. That hot line is under a lot of expectation. So it contracts and expands, it contracts and expands. And everything that's up against that line rubs against it. And that's why most lines are, as far as slab leaks, they're on the hot side. So if you feel hot spots and you're like, oh, that's so warm and toasty, it's not warm and toasty. It's no good. It's probably a slab leak. I even had someone argue with me on Facebook that was a relative of my husband that it's electrical. I'm like, no, that's not where your electrical lines are. But okay, it is very, 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 very often not a good sign and that you have a slab leak. His was a slab leak. So the other thing that you can listen for, you hear running water and you can't figure out where it's coming from, but it's running. So, and that is going to lead to that high water bill. Before you freak out that it's a slab leak, do yourself a favor. Make sure you don't have a running toilet or something easy, because most times it's that. Don't freak out. I hear running water. Where is it coming from? It's probably something that's just letting water by and you don't see it because it's going down a drain like a toilet. But if you are hearing running water and your toilets are good, it's something definitely get a professional to check out. Again, we don't want it to turn into water damage. We don't want it to turn into an insurance claim not being covered. Water is going somewhere. It can't be ignored. And a slab leak that's ignored too long actually creates, because the water again has to go somewhere, huge cavities under your home. We're talking a slab leak literally puts thousands of gallons of water a month. Thousands. That's a tiny little pinhole. You're just so tiny, a little spray gun. Thousands of gallons. Under your foundation, it's making cavities. And what that means long term is foundational issues and chaos. You don't want any of that. You don't want any of that. So let's catch it early by knowing what the symptoms are and the signs are. The other sign, not enough hot water. I have been preaching to plumbers my entire adult life, and I am an adult. So for 25 years, I have been preaching to plumbers, when a client calls that they don't have enough hot water, check the meter. Because one of the sure signs that it's a serious possibility that hot water is going somewhere is a slab leak on the hot side. So if you're getting hot water, but all of a sudden it's only giving you half a shower versus you're accustomed to 2 or 3, hot water is going somewhere. It could be a problem with your water heater, to be very clear. It could just be you have an electric heater, only the bottom element's heating, top element's heating, like something's wrong there because top takes precedence. It could be something simple. We're going to replace an element, but it could be a sign of something bigger. We want to get addressed right away rather than it's just an inconvenience. So we want to get it fixed. So if you're all of a sudden your 50-gallon hot water heater is only giving you 1 shower, something is wrong. And that hot water could be going under your foundation, making a big cavity, causing water damage. So that is definitely another sign that a lot of plumbers miss, even my plumbers. So until they beat sense into them, check the meter, check the meter, check the meter. You can ask any one of my guys, what's the rule? Check the meter. And so that's a big thing. Like I have watched guys replace water heaters and think they fixed it, and nope, I still don't have enough hot water. That client didn't need a new heater, they needed their slab leak fixed. So let's not misdiagnose it. Let's check all the processes. Check the meter. So if you work for me and you're watching this video, you know, check the meter. And then just a hot, fun pro tip. So this is weird, and from my husband who's been in the field for 20 years. And he's like, well, there's this other sign. I'm like, no, I didn't miss anything. Come on now. He's like, no, cats can help you diagnose a slab leak. I'm like, bruh, no. So this is this weird, fun fact from a pro who's been in the field for too long. If you have a cat, I mean, this is weird. But he says if you have a cat and all of a sudden your cat is consistently laying in a spot on your floor that they don't normally lay, you could have a slab leak. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? He's like, no, cats love to lay in warm spots and they find them. So it's a question that he asks our clients. You got a cat? They've been sleeping anywhere weird lately? Is part of his diagnostic process. So I'm going to call that our pro tip for today because I learned that, and it's just weird. But he swears by this diagnostic tool. Dogs don't do it, but cats do. If there is a warm spot, which goes back to one of our diagnostic points, if you have a hot spot on the floor, you're not walking all over your house, but your cat will find it. And apparently now my plumber will too. Where's your cat sleeping? So if your cat's all of a sudden sleeping in some place weird, could be a sign you have a slab leak. So if you do have any of these signs that you think maybe something's not right, you want to definitely trust a professional licensed pro. Licensed, bonded, and insured in your community. If you're in the Phoenix area, in the metropolitan, obviously I feel that should be my team. We will ask your cat lots of questions. You want to call us at 623-486-4657. You can reach us on our website at robinsplumbing.com, and you can also reach us, like there's a live chat on there and all that good stuff. So if you need to schedule that consultation, see what's going on. Hey, is there something amiss? My cat's a little weird. I may recommend a vet. But according to my husband, they have a sixth sense. So there's that. And if you're not in the Phoenix area, just make sure that when you're choosing a plumber to look and see if you have a slab leak, they've been in business for more than 5 years. They're licensed, they're bonded, they're insured, and they've stood the test of time and they've got your back. So check their reputation online. Thank you. Hope this was helpful.